University of Alabama to the University in Ohio State, not too far from here, and the universities in Georgia and all of these different places where thousands of people are getting baptized and turning to the Lord. It's happening. The hour has come. And God is going to use you to be a part of this in a powerful way. That's the hope. There's going to be a divine acceleration of leadership. The Lord was speaking to me that He's going to begin to call you up into places of stewardship and responsibility for the ministry that God is doing. It's not just the people we laid hands on the stage here today, but it's others that God is calling you out to say, I will be the one to help to see this ministry go forward. Divine acceleration's coming. The issue is, if God's bringing that, what do we need to keep in mind? What connections do we see, even in this story, to this divine acceleration? And I believe that there's 3 questions that we need to ask ourselves related to divine acceleration that are very much connected to it. And the first question we need to ask ourselves is, will we be on mission with God? Will we be on God's mission? This is very important because in this story, what happens is that Jesus, according to Mark, or let me read Mark's version because so you can get a kick out of his immediate. He literally says this, Mark 6:45, immediately, classic Peter. He's using this all the time. Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to Bethsaida while he dismissed the crowd. So Jesus was the one who told them to go. This is important because they are following the directions of Christ. They are literally going on the mission that Jesus is pointing them to. What they are not doing is saying, Jesus, I am going to be on my own mission. And then as I'm on my own mission, doing my own thing, now I want you, Jesus, to actually bless it. I want you to come and give me favor based on what I want to do. And this is a lot of times what we face. Many times we have an agenda. There's things that we desire and we want to take place, but we haven't consulted with Jesus. Jesus, what do you want to happen in my life? Jesus, where are you taking me? See, the divine acceleration that God brought in the lives of the disciples was because they were on mission with Jesus. They were on mission with him. I think this is so important. I think about my own life, for example. I can remember just being, before I became a believer, just being someone who was excelling academically. I was a part of sports, and I was doing well in sports. I know it's hard to believe with my size, but I actually played basketball. And God gifted me with like a 46-inch vertical so I could actually throw the ball down. You know? I know. I could get up. Had some ups, as they called it. But I was excelling in all these different ways. I had favor with teachers. Everything was going on. Listen, I was doing a lot of busy work and had a lot of activities. But here's the thing. I wasn't targeting the thing that mattered. See, what mattered was not how good I was and how much glory I received, but what mattered is that Jesus would be glorified through my life. And this is the thing I've found with so many of us is that if we don't understand that we need to be about God's mission, about Jesus' mission, and align ourselves with his particular mission instead of following our own plans, then what can happen is that we may be going somewhere, but we're going to hit the wrong destination. See, these men went to a destination that Jesus told them to go to because it was a part of his mission for them. We have to get this because it's not just about a destination, it's about a God-given destiny. What is his destiny for you? Where is he leaning you towards? See, we could be moving, but that doesn't mean we're growing. Doesn't mean we're growing in the way that God intends for us. Here's the thing. God accelerates what he endorses. And the only thing God is endorsing is his own plans. his own mission, his own agenda. He's not endorsing an agenda or a mission that we have apart from him. It has to be his mission, his agenda. Then he will endorse it and say, I'm going to put my resources, my power behind it, and you're going to see something supernatural take place. So we actually have to align our mission with God's mission. And the way that we do that very practically is we look at what God is doing in the church. And we look at what God's doing in our lives. And we look at those two things. We say, God, what are you doing in this church? What do you want to do? Because I want to be a part of it. And in the very practical level, what you find is the ways that we can participate with what God is doing in the church and what God's mission is all about is we can say, God, I am willing to pray. I want to pray and be a part of praying that God would advance, you would advance your kingdom, that people would be saved, that individuals would be touched, that we'd be able to impact the city. I'm going to be committed to that. Another ways you can do that is I'm going to be committed to being on mission with you, God, by serving, by actually giving you my time and giving you the talents I have. There's something that God has put in every single person to contribute to his work. And he wants you to utilize that to be able to advance his kingdom and to see many people transformed by the gospel. But I'm going to serve. I'm going to give. I'm going to be a part of it. And it's not, giving is not necessarily about how much you have. It's not about an equal giving amount that someone else may be giving, but it's about giving with an equal sacrifice. Not equal amount, equal sacrifice. I'm going to give. Because what God wants to do in Lincoln Park, what God wants to do in Rogers Park, what God wants to do in Madison, and all the places that he's called us, is going to require resources. It's going to require giving and finances. And these are very practical ways. You can say, God, I'm going to be on mission with you through this church. And what is he doing in your life? See, here's the thing about it. When we start to align ourselves with